Salutations, fellow nerds. I'm Rick Y, the wise guy. And today is December 15th, 2024, and we're creeping up on the inauguration of Donald Trump. And some recent events have further informed me on the upcoming few years, and it isn't great. So if you enjoy news, history, or general Americana, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want real-time updates, make sure you diddle that little notification bell. We would be much obliged. This past week, while standing in front of his Times Person of the Year award, which was like plastered on the wall behind him, Donald Trump hit the NASDAQ bell to open up the stock market. Keep in mind, while some other celebrities have also opened the market to place attention on their products or their brands, this one felt a little different to me, primarily due to how open the exploitation is at this point. You see, Donald Trump ran on the concept that not only did he give tax breaks to everybody in his first term, they're set to actually expire for everyone who isn't currently a hedge fund manager or, I don't know, let's say a CEO of a leading insurance company. That means those nice little tax benefits you like to give Trump credit for, they're going bye-bye here soon if he can't find a way to extend them. He never actually meant to help you, just manipulate you into thinking he did long enough to buy your support and get out of town before he had to face the music. Keep in mind, he is opening the market at record highs under Joe Biden. And again, he's placing himself on a throne to take advantage of the previous president's achievements the way he did in his first 2 years. Indeed, Barack Obama had a fantastic economy after having been given 2 unnecessary wars and an economic recession. Yet somehow, the Democrat was able to climb us out of financial ruin from the fiscally conservative party. Immediately upon taking office, Trump started giving himself credit for economic numbers that had been achieved under Obama. Our lives aren't immediately impacted by the actions of a president, especially on the global market stage. There's a lag time. I even mentioned this previously that were he to implement his tariffs the very second he took office, which is unlikely, it would be upwards of a year before we started actually seeing a lot of the effects from that. But the same is for positive benchmarks. And given Biden's admittedly meteoric economic numbers, it's going to take time to put any real dent into it, meaning that you're probably going to have to expect arguing with your cousins for at least another year or so on Facebook. They're going to want to constantly be giving credit to Trump for numbers he had no sway on. To add to that, it's interesting that he wants to tout the prices during COVID, but won't say shit about the other metrics like GDP and employment, consumer confidence, inflationary rates. But on top of these other red flags I'm seeing pop up, I'm starting to see something else. At the ringing of this NASDAQ bell, he clearly stated what his plans are, and that was to give massive tax breaks to the wealthy. This means that not only did Trump finally admit about lying, about not being able to bring prices down, but he's going to use his position to further enrich his donors and corporate leaders. To my bootstrap conservatives and MAGA working class, if your plan was to further enrich people like Brian Thompson before he, but that he's going to take money out of your paycheck to do it, while going back on his promise to lower prices. Not only did he tell Rolling Stone magazine that he can't get high costs down when they're already up, it's just going to be too hard. The very same day, he hit the NASDAQ bell and told everyone on Wall Street, oh yeah, we can totally reduce your costs. Easy peasy. Let me tell you what, we're also going to give you some tax breaks. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but these are exactly what points he was making. These are some of the most wealthy companies in our nation. And as John Favreau from Pod Save America pointed out, 5 of the richest grocery chains who have already been raking their customers over the coals when it comes to price gouging, they're going to be getting a couple $1 billion out of this. Granted, maybe the Waltons, of Walmart will find it in their hearts to pass those savings on to you. They've been so charitable over the years. Reminder for those, but what about the Democrats? Understand, his opponent Harris wanted to extend child tax credits and help month-to-month expenditures until costs could come down. She wanted to extend loan forgiveness so that more money would be in your pocket at the end of the month. She wanted to give first-time homebuyers who qualify a $20,000 break on their down payment. So younger adults and their subsequent generations could finally look forward to owning a home. She was going to give $50,000 to new business startups. She was also going to start setting up a government regulatory body that would actually tackle high grocery prices. And she would have continued to expand on what can be summed up as an astronomical economic growth that we have been graced with over the past 4 years in the face of a global pandemic. He lied to you. He betrayed you the second you gave him the benefit of the doubt. He sold you a false bill of goods and you lapped it up like he hadn't burned you in the past. And he's doing it in microphones and on cameras. The biggest concern that I have at the moment is that the corruption is so blatant, so clearly out in the open, but his voters will either fail to pay attention or refuse to hold the man accountable. I really can't explain what is going on in the minds of those who truly feel like the reality of this is contrary to what is clearly going on in our lives. They have a blind faith and loyalty toward a man that is almost akin to some abusive, codependent relationship wherein no matter how many times a person is abused or hit, they're convinced that it's okay. They still love me. It really is the strangest thing to me. He made you fear your fellow Americans and human beings and twisted that against your better judgment. Some of you guys might actually be on your way to owning a home this year had you voted differently. And the numbers by which he won demonstrate a larger support for him than Harris had, which means he either won over some previous Biden voters. Too many Democrats stayed home and simply accepted their fate instead of his alternative. Too many people didn't think their vote was going to count, so they chose not to participate in an institution hundreds of thousands have died to protect and defend. I don't know. I can't really be sure of all the motivations, and I don't think we'll ever really get a definitive result here. But we're here now. And the only thing that we can do right now and going forward is remind our fellow voters what it is he promised and what it is he is doing. Remember why they voted for him. Remind them. But also remind them that if they lose motivation and steam in this struggle, that they don't really have an option anymore. They helped put us here. And it is with their participation that we will all get out of this together. There are no two realities. There is one. And then there is being manipulated and lied to so as to benefit someone who wouldn't look twice if he saw you begging on the street. We don't have the luxury of letting people who put us in this mess check out because they're now bored or melancholy over their decision making. It's important and imperative that we bridge gaps that can be bridged and work on somehow working with each other and ignore the wedge issues. Government spending and whether or not you're going to be able to put food on the table isn't dependent upon whether a Starbucks cup says Merry Christmas or Happy Festivus. What matters is whether the people we put in office hold up their end of the bargain and not enrich themselves or their donors. And the only way we as constituents can make sure that's happening effectively is if we stay informed, stay engaged, and stay decent. Until next time, peace.